chocolate. For most of us, that word means one thing: a guilty pleasure, right? A sweet treat we know we probably shouldn't be having. But what if I told you the science is telling a very different story? What if this so-called indulgence is actually a health food in disguise? Okay, let's dive in and see what's really going on.
To really get what chocolate is all about, we have to go way back. I'm talking about the ancient Mayans. They were some of the first people to cultivate cocoa, and they didn't just like it, they revered it. They made this hot, spiced cocoa drink they called the food of the gods. In fact, the scientific name for the cocoa tree, Theobroma cacao, literally means that. So yeah, they knew it was something special. But, fast forward to today, and our view is totally different. We think of candy bars, way too much sugar, empty calories. It's usually the first thing a nutritionist tells you to cut back on. So how did we get from food of the gods to plain old junk food? And is that bad rap actually deserved?
Well, this is where the whole story flips on its head. It turns out not all chocolate is created equal, not even close. All the potential health benefits we're about to talk about, they all depend on one single crucial factor: the difference between milk chocolate and dark chocolate. It really boils down to this simple comparison. Your average milk chocolate bar has a pretty low amount of actual cocoa, and that's where all the good stuff is. Instead, it's packed with sugar. Dark chocolate does the exact opposite. It's high in cocoa and low in sugar, and that one simple change is what unlocks a world of health potential. And you can really see it here. In a good dark chocolate bar, the cocoa solids, that's the source of all these powerful compounds, make up most of the bar. Sugar is just a small part of the recipe. It's the complete opposite of what you'd see in a milk chocolate bar, where sugar is usually the #1 ingredient. And look, this isn't just about ingredients. It has real-world consequences. A huge study from Harvard School of Public Health found a direct link between eating milk chocolate and long-term weight gain. But what about dark chocolate? Absolutely no link was found. That one fact right there tells you they're two totally different foods. Okay, so now that we're on the same page, we're talking specifically about dark chocolate. What can it actually do for our bodies? Well, let's start with maybe the most surprising benefit of all: heart health. It sounds a little too good to be true, doesn't it? The idea that this delicious treat you have in the afternoon could be actively helping one of your most important organs. But believe it or not, the data is incredibly compelling. Just take a look at this number. One major analysis found that people who eat dark chocolate at least 5 times a week have a stunning 57% lower risk of developing ischemic heart disease. That's the kind caused by blocked arteries. I mean, a 57% reduction is absolutely massive. And it doesn't even stop there. That same huge research review found major risk reductions for a whole bunch of other serious heart-related problems. We're talking a lower risk of certain kinds of stroke and even heart attacks. It seems to have this broad protective shield effect on our entire circulatory system. So you're probably wondering, how on earth does it do all that? Well, a big piece of the puzzle is its effect on blood pressure. It all starts with these amazing little compounds in cocoa called polyphenols. When we eat them, they tell our body to make more of a molecule called nitric oxide. And what does nitric oxide do? It tells our blood vessels to chill out, relax, and widen, which lets blood flow more easily. And the result of that? Lower blood pressure. But here's a really smart detail about how this works. The blood pressure lowering effect is most powerful in people who already have high blood pressure. If your levels are already in a healthy range, dark chocolate doesn't really push them down any further. It's like it has this built-in safety switch. All right, so a powerful heart protector. That's huge all on its own. But the evidence suggests that's not all. The benefits seem to extend to another massive health concern in the modern world: type 2 diabetes. And here's another incredible number for you. A massive study that followed over 100,000 people found that those who ate 5 or more servings of dark chocolate a week had a 21% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And, you guessed it, milk chocolate showed no benefit at all. So we've seen amazing effects on the heart and our metabolism. But what about the organ that's running the whole show? Well, it turns out dark chocolate has some really fascinating effects on our brain and even our mood. And I'm not just talking about that simple, ooh, this tastes good feeling. One controlled trial had people eat a small amount of 85% cocoa chocolate every day for 3 weeks. The result? They reported a major drop in negative feelings, stuff like stress, sadness, and anxiety. The science behind why this happens is just so cool. It all comes down to something called the gut-brain axis. See, those polyphenols from the cocoa, they're not just antioxidants, they're also prebiotics. Think of them like superfood for the good bacteria living in your gut. And when those good bacteria are happy and thriving, they send positive signals up to your brain, which can actually improve your emotional state. It's amazing. And the brain benefits aren't just about feeling happier, they're about being sharper too. Another study, this one on middle-aged adults, found that regular dark chocolate intake helped reduce both mental and physical fatigue, while at the same time boosting important brain functions like memory and decision-making.
Okay, so the evidence is pretty overwhelming, right? Dark chocolate has some serious health-boosting superpowers. But, and this is a really big but, you have to be a smart shopper to actually get those benefits. So let's talk about what to look for.
First off, just appreciate this for a second. We're not just talking about fancy compounds. Dark chocolate is a legitimate source of key minerals. Just 4 or 5 little squares can give you a really nice chunk of your daily magnesium, which is great for muscles and relaxation, and iron, which is so important for energy. So next time you're in the chocolate aisle, here's your super simple checklist. Number 1, look for at least 70% cocoa on the label. Higher is even better. 2, scan the ingredients and make sure there are no weird hydrogenated fats. 3, sugar should be way down on the ingredient list, not at the top. And finally, the sweet spot for a serving size seems to be about 4 or 5 squares a day. Now, I get it. If you've been eating milk chocolate your whole life, jumping straight into an 85% or 90% bar can be a bit of a shock. It's intense. So a great way to do it is to start lower, maybe with a 50% or 60% bar, and just let your taste buds adjust over time. You'll slowly start to appreciate all those complex, amazing flavors. You know, when you look at all the evidence, it really seems like those ancient Mayans were right all along. When you choose the right kind and eat it in moderation, dark chocolate stops being a guilty pleasure and becomes what it truly is, a functional food, one that can actively make you healthier. And that just makes you wonder, doesn't it? If we got the story on chocolate so wrong for so long, what other foods that we've dismissed as unhealthy might be out there just waiting for us to discover their hidden secrets? Definitely something to think about.